Hi everyone, good morning. Can I know if you can hear me? Okay, all right, great. Let's just give it a few seconds to see more people. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Allow me to introduce myself to you. So I'm Pam. You can call me Pam. And I am so excited to be able to share with you this very nice topic, which is very close to my heart. And I think is also very close to all of your hearts as well. So it's titled Emotional Overload. It's holding you back at work. How many of you feel like this is something that really resonates with you? Can you type me in the chat box? Okay, capital me as well. I'm going to type me too because I definitely can relate to it too. Okay, all right, all of us good. I'm so glad that you said that because now I know that this is something that we all can relate to. So it's very close to all of our hearts. Me. I want you to look at something for a moment before we actually dive into it, right? Let's imagine that this is your emotional cup. So this is actually your space in yourself to hold emotions and everything that you're going through. So this is your emotional cup. All right. And everything that you go through, say, for example, any stressor that you feel, any stress, that's represented by this happy yellow balls. I know it looks a little SpongeBobby, but this represents your stressor. So let's say every time you feel like it's a lack of sleep, you eat late, all right, you skip some kind of like outing with your friends in order to do lots and lots of work, and then you have to answer late emails, and then you burn the midnight oil to finish up your work, all right, and then you say no to your friends, but you say yes to doing everything else to skip your physical activity. And say, for example, this is all the sadness that you carry, any unaddressed grief that you're actually carrying with you. And after a while, people tell you like you gotta reach out, you gotta say no, you gotta have boundaries, but you say I can't have time for that. So now your emotional cup is getting full. Observe that. And let's say, for example, people ask you for help, and you're knowing the person that you are, you're gonna say, of course I'll help you. And then it goes into this and a little bit more. And then say, for example, I skip breakfast because I don't have time to deal with it. And before you know it, you're dealing with issues with your children maybe, and dealing with issues with yourself maybe. Notice how it's all spilling over, and you're dealing with issues with your friends, and then maybe your parents, and your own stuff that are going on. And then the last time you took a vacay is like never ever, and everything is just spilling over. So what we're gonna do today is, this is definitely total overload. Gain more weight some more. Yes, exactly. Tell me about it. I totally can relate. So all of these are spilling over, and we all have our threshold. Now, your threshold and mine, all of us can be different. You might be able to deal with more stuff than me in some areas, and in some aspects, I might be able to deal with more stuff than others in some aspects. So we're all dealing with different boiling points, but you need to know when is your boiling point. So this is like overloaded, and when that happens, you don't have any more space for anything good that tries to enter your way. Now, your space is so full, you don't have time for any enjoyment or peace and happiness. And I'm going to call those fruits. So there's no space for fruits anymore. It just, okay, maybe one fruit might be able to balance. And let's say, for example, if there's no other room for any other fruits, it could be like a friend reaching out for help, or a friend actually telling you, I want to be able to help you. So it just, there's no more space. You going for therapy, but you feel like, I don't want to go for therapy, that's not for me, that's for people who are very bad in severity. So now that's the fruit trying to come in, but there's no space. So anytime you want to actually take a break and breathe, there's no space at all for you to really be able to process even what you're going through. So anyone of you feel like you resonate with the yellow balls and the fruits over here? Thank you so much for sharing that, Atika. That must be really challenging. That's a lot on your plate, actually. So I really, really see that there's a lot that's happening that all of us are juggling. Everybody's journey is different. And by the way, I want to tell you that there's also a myth that when people, I don't know if you resonate with this, there's a myth when people say, those who are, let's say, single, don't they have it easier, for example. So both single, both married, whatever it is, young, older, middle, everybody has their journey, and they are all battling with lots of journeys as well. So all of us are here today This is a very nice support system. I'm going to look at it like a support group over here. Okay. All right. So let me come right to it right now. Let me begin and tell you, those of you who are facing some issues with your browser, could you try maybe switching, use a supported browser, either Chrome, if not try Firefox or Safari. Make sure that you have a stable internet connection. Test your speaker output. Maybe you can try refreshing. If not, can you try to rejoin the webinar? Maybe you could go out, come back in again. And if you're still experiencing issues, could you type like a private message to our Naluri admin who is actually on standby to help you with this? You can type your message and put an alias there. So alias, Naluri events. Then our admins will help you out very quickly with that. You can ask your questions in the chat box, like what all of you guys are doing right now, typing amazingly. And you can, there's going to be some polls, anonymous polls. And if you really want to be very PM to P me, you can definitely private message me by putting an alias, okay, alias, and my name. All right, Pamilia. Then you can send me a private message and I will try my best to remember not to say your name. Okay, so you can do that. We will give you some handouts later. So you're going to get this. So don't worry. I'm so glad that you joined us, by the way. So I'm Pam, and I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm also a lecturer, by the way, in IIUM, and I'm a clinical psychologist in Naluri. I've been with Naluri for many years, and I'm so glad to talk to you, all of you. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to come right to it right now. So a lot of us are going through with many, many things that we're faced with. So I'm going to share with you basically what is emotional overload. Then we're going to look at, going to go dive right into how to actually strengthen emotional agility. All right. Yes, thank you so much, Akira. I believe I might have seen you before as well. Thank you. Okay. All right. We're going to dive right into emotional agility over here. And then I'm going to share with you something interesting. This is on how do we have attention training. All right. It's very different from focus only, it's a different kind of, it's blocking out stuff. So focus is when we really pay attention to something. But this is not just paying attention. This is also going into a hyper focus mode, but you're blocking out distractions until you come to a state called flow. I teach positive psychology and it's a beautiful term called flow. I'm going to share with you what it is. And then we're going to see how to have some goals and key takeaways in the last quarter of the year. Okay, Q4, right? So we're not gonna be sad about it. We're gonna say, yay, Q4 before we go into next year. We're gonna end this year with a bang. All right. So let's get to it here. And even though you see me smiling here, I just want to let you know, my dears, that it doesn't mean that I didn't have any emotional overload. I could be having it right now as I'm talking to you. And it's, you know what I love about positive psychology as well? It's actually when you are able to recognize that negative emotions are possible to coexist with positive emotions. So if you're going through grief right now, if you're going through sadness right now, it doesn't mean that there's no room for being happy. They are very independent emotions. I could be grieving at home and I allow that space for me to grieve, but I could also find happiness in the same day, on the same day. So it's very possible. Okay, so for those of you who would like to message me personally, you can type an alias, all right? Type alias, and then you put my name, Pamilia, there. Then you'll be able to PM me, all right? So that not everybody would see your message. Okay, so have you ever been here before where you check your inbox at midnight? Come on, those of you who are guilty, can I see like a thumbs up? Or maybe say me if that's you. All right. Thank you for those of you testing the PM to P. I can see your messages, right? I'm not going to mention your name, but I can see it. Okay, so yes, thumbs up. All right. Those of you who feel very drained, you know, it's like it's so draining when you check your inbox or you're in your meetings. And I want to let you know that it's not just, we're not going to blame our job right now. By the way, I'm just want to give you a disclaimer. There's a combination of things that are contributing to how we are feeling. A lot of times, I got a client who told me this. I feel like quitting my job. It's too much, Lam. And when I really talked to her, then she realized that it's not as bad actually when I really look at it. Like it's not so bad, my job. There's a lot of tiny, tiny pockets of time in her day that was being stolen without her realizing. But when you really break it down, she realized that she tended to stay back at the office until 9 p.m. to finish up pending work. And she kind of like usually would people please. She's such a people pleaser. So anything her friend tells her, also she would also please her friend too. So her boss is not just the boss at work. The boss is everybody else in her life. So it's also like maybe the her friends are also her boss in a way because she doesn't have that ability to say no to them. Or and it's also like, for example, she feels so sucked, like her energy is so sucked. She also says yes to all her family members and her husband and everyone. So it's not a wrong thing. You just have to know how to prioritize and when to say yes and when to say no. So she was basically just giving and giving and giving. She felt like quitting her job, and she felt, and then later she realized it's not really her job that's her enemy. Her enemy is who? Can you actually relate to that, my dear? Who's really her enemy? Her true enemy is herself in a way. And now I'm not blaming all of you. I'm not. Please know that I have your back here, okay? So it's actually us sometimes. Sometimes we teach people how to treat us, you know? Sometimes I'm guilty of that, by the way, when I'm telling you this. Yes, exactly. Irmamati said it. She hit the bullseye. So it's hard to say no sometimes, right? And it's okay if you want to cry. I'll cry with you here as well. So it's very hard sometimes for us to say no. And sometimes, right, it's yes, my friends would put themselves first sometimes. Planning to see them pun susah. Betul, it's true. So sometimes people know how to put that boundary. I'm not saying always say no to people. I'm not saying that. But you gotta know when to do it and how to balance that. Because otherwise you're gonna be give, give, give. And then you start to quit things when really you didn't have to quit it in the first place. You just needed to make some adjustments. And that's what my client did. She started to say no, and it was to her friends sometimes, to certain family members sometimes. It was so hard for her. Then she realized she was starting to have a life. So I'm not saying like remove them from your equation, because we need them. Those are the fruits, remember, in our life. They're blessings in our life. But knowing how to make room for them. So, for example, seeking therapy is lessening the load here. Talking to a friend, the right friend, about what you're going through, not the kind of friend that's going to be BBC. Okay, the friend that's going to be helpful to you. Okay, and then being able to maybe go watch a movie. Have you watched a solo movie by yourself before? I love doing that just for fun. It's really nice. So having me time, that's like lessening the load a bit. When you do that, now you have a bit of space to let in a bit of friendship and everything. But notice how there's still a limited space. You can't just keep filling with other things. Sometimes the thing that you want to fill up with is could be time with yourself, quiet time to just, if you heard of muhasabah, time to just reflect, time to ponder, to meditate, to have mindfulness, to pray. These are like very important tokens that we don't have time for because we're so busy saying yes to everyone and everything else, right? So I really thank you for sharing this, everyone. I feel like we need more time for. I love your words, by the way. Thank you. It's precious what I'm seeing here in the chat box. Thank you so much. It's true. We tend to crumble sometimes because, we cannot salt the wound. They are your parents sometimes. It's true. Somebody here says something interesting. I'm working in a unit with a poor environment and had gone through several works related to crisis or challenges with their gang. End up their whole gang joined the crisis. It affects me a lot. Now I prefer to be silent at my desk. That's very true, my dear. I think that's something that we realize. That's why I like to compartmentalize. I have my friends who I mix with, for religious group. I have my friends I mix with for work group. I have my friends who are like my gang. They got Penang. I'm from Penang, by the way. I have my friends that are here and there. I compartmentalize, so I really am able to have that boundaries. I don't know. I like it neat like that, and it really helps a lot. And it's not easy when you're having that, so it's draining. It's not a sign of weakness. I want to let you know that. Those of you who find it difficult to say no, I also want to tell you something. It's not that you're weak at all, okay? Coming from someone who also has that issue sometimes, but I think I've overcome it in a lot of ways as well. But I'm not there yet completely as well. But you know what? It's not a sign of weakness. It just means that you care a lot and you empathize. And this is what I call people who are empaths. They really care a lot about everyone and everything, that it's so hard for them sometimes because they feel like saying no is letting people down. It's like I'm being unkind to that person when really it's not. And that's what you need to realize that. Okay, so what we're going to do today is how do we create this space to thrive together? Okay, tell me which one resonates with you, both or the left or the right? More than 16% says that they actually have meetings after 8 p.m. In my previous job, I used to be invited for meetings after 8 p.m. and it was not my main boss inviting me. It was other departments that wanted to collaborate for some CSR thingy. And so I remember saying that I cannot make it after 8. I think that the whole work day is already full. I really cannot afford to like now allocate 8. It's not a short meeting, by the way. It can be like up to 9:30 or 10. So I would actually say no. And of course, people were not very happy with me. So I would express that, can we have it in the work day, maybe in working hours? Is it okay? And they like to do it at night. So they would normally be upset with me about that. And slowly we started to drift away in terms of events and things and work. But that's actually an optional kind of a thing. So you got to choose your battles. You got to choose, this one is off limits. I have to say yes to this. This one I can choose to say no. So I made my choice and I actually said, I'm so sorry, I cannot make it if it's after 8. I can't make it on a Sunday morning. I'm really sorry. So this is some stuff that I had to do. And I started getting called lesser and lesser lah from them. And that's okay. That's something, there are consequences. And you got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's something you got to know today, everybody. How to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And if it's from your direct superior, you can't say, of course, you can't just simply say no whenever you want. But what you can do, perhaps, is talk to the person. And you could probably say, like, I'm so sorry, when something is given to me at 5 p.m. to complete by 12 a.m., it's a bit tight for me when I have family as well. So is it possible that maybe we could have a little bit of time for me, like to actually complete it on a work hour? I think it's something that you can negotiate because you owe it to yourself, right? And sometimes our superiors may not really, maybe they might accidentally overlook certain things. So a very good thing is for you to have a one-on-one session with them and share your boundaries and what could be some obstacles that you're facing and what exactly are you going through. I think that's very important. Okay, so when we set boundaries, people at work see it as not being part of a team. However, without boundaries, I'm feeling overwhelmed with family and other commitments. Is there a way to balance? Very good question, my dear. So it's very important for you to be able to balance it, but how to do it. So if people actually see it as not being part of a team, I think you can actually ask yourself, because we need to know how to balance as well. I got a client who said that she wouldn't join any team event, even if it's office hours. If there's even something as simple as, do you know bubur lambo and all this kind of like very nice, it's more like, I'm going to use a Malay word now again. Sorry again. Silaturahim. So it's very much for social cohesion. In sports psychology, we call it social cohesion. These are like very nice events that people organize. It's not related to your task or your work, but it's actually more of like a togetherness and to foster camaraderie and collegiality. So these events were seen by my client as not important and a waste of time. And actually, it is important. So you got to know which one to pick and choose. If, let's say, it involves coming to the office at night and everything, I think that's something to negotiate. And you can actually put a very strong boundary. And it doesn't mean you're not a team player. It just means that you have a life outside work as well. So you need to know how to put that balance, and then talk to someone about it. But remember, as long as there's people will always talk, right? We really cannot please everybody. Unfortunately, we can't. The only person that, because if we keep doing that, we will really go into this burnout stage, and burnout is dangerous. So what we need to do is we need to be able to know how to set that boundary, right? Okay, so I'm going to come to all of your comments and questions later. Let's have a poll right now. This poll is like an anonymous poll, so you can type here. In the past week, how often have you felt emotionally overloaded at work in the past week? So we're gonna look at how you've been doing. It's October, so so you can say like the end of September until October. How often have you felt emotionally overloaded, like really, really overloaded? And it's okay to not be okay, by the way. It doesn't mean that you're weak, all right? It just means that we're all going through something. It could be personal, it could be work related, it could be both. Okay, so let's have a look here. So some very rare that people say never. It's we're looking at a few times. It's like in the lead right now. Anybody else wanna jump in and still answer? On the lead is a few times. Okay, so it's not almost every day. I thought that would be the highest, but it's actually a few times, and that's a good thing for us to see. So we have, I mean, it is also of course a cry for help, but a few times is majority is a few times is still better than every single day. Okay, so even the almost every day, I'm not sure if yours is every single day or it's almost every day. But even if it is almost every day, it's also good for us to get some help right now. And when I say help, it's talking to someone about it, talking to your direct boss about it, if it's work related, talking to your colleagues about it, and how you could sort of maneuver some things, talking to your family on how to adjust some things. So almost every day, alrighty. Okay, my dears. All right, thank you for answering that. Thank you so much. I think I can see like most of us can say like it's a few times here. Okay, so for the past 3 weeks, students just had exams, had no right UCA as references. Yours is like more of like the past 3 weeks. Okay, so work isn't a problem, it's everyday life. Exactly. I think a lot of us can relate to that too. Sometimes it's everyday life, just existing, dealing with emotions in relationships, in friendships, in taking care of parents, taking care of yourself, health issues. Office bullying is brutal. It's the silent killer. Eats you up inside. That's true. It's very true, actually. And that's something actually to talk about. I think we need to, because if you just keep quiet about it, bullying starts at, you've seen how there's a lot of bullying happening at school as well. We've seen that in the news as well, right? And it can carry forward and go into our adulthood, and it's real. Adult bullying is true as well. So it's something that we need to do to raise that awareness and also to reach out for help or share that with someone at the right person at the office, because otherwise that person's going to keep doing it and you're going to keep being that person to get the short end, right? Yes, respect definitely is very, very important. Okay, let's go to how to help ourselves right now. I wouldn't want to burden other people hearing about my problem. It's like throwing them our emotional baggage, and they have to bear it. And this happens to my friend, where she feels suffocated just by hearing other people's problem. I agree with you, my dear. I really, really agree with you on that, and that's why here we have mental health professionals who are waiting to help you. We are actually so happy to help you. We really want to help you. We are That's why we're in this profession, to be able to help each other. But actually, I think if you want to share a little sneak preview with your friends, it wouldn't be so bad sometimes to just, but with the right person who's going to be helpful. Sometimes some friends, they really like to listen as well, but not until we treat them like our therapist. That can be emotionally exhausting, because even therapists have boundaries as well. So with friendship, if you treat your friend like a therapist, there wouldn't be any cut off. It'll be like 24/7. I expect you to be on standby for me, and that's going to be exhausting. So I agree with that. How to compartmentalize, still struggling with this. Okay, so I'm going to share with you that in a little bit. That's exactly what we're going to do with emotional agility right here. Okay, so emotional agility actually refers to the ability that of us to manage our thoughts and our emotions in a more flexible and adaptive way. That's why they call it agile. Not having a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset where we're super rigid and we're super like reactive. You are responsive, not reactive. And one way that all of us need to do right now, let's do it together. Type, what is the emotion that you are really feeling right now? The exact word of it. Let's name it. So you're feeling a lot of things right now, right? But if you had to name it, if you had to put a name to that emotion, anxious, okay? Anxious. Today's Friday, right? I mean, I'm kind of hopeful. I'm hopeful, although I'm also feeling nervous. I've got a lot of things on my plate, but I'm also hopeful. Okay, emotionally detached, overloaded. Thank God it's Friday. Okay, overwhelmed, excited, happy, tired. Okay, now I want you to do something else for me. Okay, thank you so much, my dears. That's awesome. I want you to do something else. If you could now describe your situation like with an analogy, what would you describe it as? You know why I'm asking you this? This is actually going to help you recognize what you're going through. So if I were to describe it, sometimes like a while back, I was going through this. So I would describe what I was going through before as I'm drowning, but tangan ay kapay. My hands are like trying to stay afloat. So I'm not drowned yet. I'm still alive, but I feel like I'm drowning in the deep end in the sea, and I'm like trying to stay afloat. So I keep going like this, and my head keeps bobbing up and down, and it's a sea. Okay, so what would be your analogy? And then I'm a firecracker, bright, pretty, but sometimes chaotic. That's so nice. It sounds like a lyric of a song. Why does that sound so familiar? Okay, I'm an air floating, I'm walking on eggshells. I'm a robot. I'm a rock. I'm a punching bag. I'm a sinking boat. Okay, these are beautiful analogies, by the way. I'm a Michael Bay movie. Amazing. Okay. I'm in a swimming pool. My head is above the water level. I know there's a hand coming. I'm praying it's going to pull me out of the pool. That's amazing. Let's see. Ticking atomic bomb. Okay. I'm drifting in the ocean with no purpose at all. Okay. um I'm a superhero solving loss. It's really nice. I love all your analogies. You can already compose a song with this, you know. I'm unstoppable, I'm a Porsche, but yours is like I'm a superhero solving lots of. So it's good. Okay, so now you've given your analogy right now, right? What is around you? Who is around you in that particular space that you have described? You're on a roller coaster with no brakes. Amazing. Who's on that roller coaster with you? Who do you see beside you? Okay, that's one question. Number two, who's going to be very worried for you being on that roller coaster? Who's going to be so worried for you? And who's actually like concerned about you as a fairy mother, your heart like Maleficent? Yeah, your parents or nobody, my family. So this is how you identify people who are very much your anchors in life and your own self, your kids. Okay, and what do you feel will help you to come out of that analogy, to come out of that? Ask yourself, what would be helpful for you to come out of that? What would be something you need? So somebody said like, okay, earlier was drowning, so it'll be like a lifeboat. Okay, a fresh start, a helping hand, eat sweet things, grab my hand. See, a lot of us are saying like, I want someone to save me and come and help me. You really really need that help, right? Or you want a good rest, someone to listen, to pause. See, this is how you know what your body really needs. So this is a sneak preview of what you really need to do, and a scream for help. Exactly. So all of us are going through this, and you need to identify who are your anchors around you who'll be able to help you, and what do you really need to come out of it. My one work friend, my boyfriend, his friend, and his friend also, wow, and my immediate family. That's a very nice cocktail of people that you have. That's a really good system. I feel like no one can help me. Okay, that's also a very good realization, and that's why we are here to help you, my dears. If those of you who feel like, what if you can't be helped? Okay, so if you can't be helped, well, that's actually a perception, right? You can't be helped because really you could actually try to reach out, and you'll be surprised, because that's when people feel like they're hopeless and helpless, and that's a dangerous place to be at, you know. And that's why we're here to actually help you. Okay, feels like I'm all alone with everyone is only coming to the punching bag to dump their feelings and emotional burden. So it sounds like you're like the place that people go to share. You must be a very approachable person in your family as well. All right, so it's something that you got to do for yourself. Who's going to listen? Who's actually that there for you? Who's your place to an outlet, an emotional outlet? Okay, I want to share with you something very, very nice, my dear. I'm so sorry for those of you who are sharing with me. Thank you, by the way, for your private messages. I feel for you. I can see like, "Panatla." I know it's very, very tiring. Of course. That's why we need to get some help, you know. Going through it alone is hard. It's good to talk to someone about that. Okay, so um Learn optimism. A lot of times we can learn to be helpless, but do you know that we can also learn to be optimistic? And how to be optimistic? We're going to actually look at things from another angle. When things are too full, how can I look at it from another angle to really what would fill my cup? How do I change these challenges into opportunities and not give up, when with what I'm going through? How do I create meaning and purpose? Yeah, I'm so tired with so much of work to do, but how do I find purpose in this particular job that I'm doing, in this role at home? Okay, so someone says, I'm feeling so fed up in caps lock. I have to be there for everyone. But when I have the problem, I got blamed. But then they are the cause. And that's really unfair, of course. So what I can see, what you're going through is more of a relationship issue as well and communication issue. And it's really unfair that you have to go through that. And that's why setting the boundaries part is very important, actually. Telling them that, you know what, I'm going to be there for you, but I'm going to choose me as well. I need to be there for myself too. And putting that boundary to tell people that, I don't deserve to be blamed for this. And being able to, because it sounds like an emotional bullying happening at the same time, right? So you standing up for yourself, showing up for you is very important. So that's why it's very important to choose who we allow in our inner circle, who we allow to open the doors of our heart, to really allow them to see through that, because that's very sacred. And sometimes people don't treat that with that sacredcy. Overthinking is not a bad thing. It helps you to process. So what I do when I'm having that overthinking kind of a moment is I really just pause and I process it. And sometimes I do it in prayer as well. Like for me, I like to, so when I'm praying, I'll be complaining to God, like, can you imagine this happen? How could this happen? And then for me, I find that very wonderful because you're talking to someone who's unconditionally loving. So you can find your own way to process. Some people process with journaling. So it really depends as well. Yes, your girlfriends too. So focusing on this can be very helpful. Let's do something for a moment because all of us are processing and talking about a lot of stuff right now, which I love, by the way. You're doing great. Let's do something for a little bit. It's an activity called Leaves on a Stream. Okay, I'm gonna get back to you in the chat box. So Leaves on a Stream. Let me call out for our video right now to come. I need you to close your eyes as we're doing this together. Are you ready? Can you do this with me? Okay. All right.
Close your eyes and direct your focus into your body. Focus on your breathing without trying to control it. Just observe it. Now, imagine that you're standing or sitting by a flowing stream in a forest. Maybe you can see the greenery surrounding you, hear the birds singing, and the water flowing. Or maybe you can smell the plants and flowers. Imagine leaves falling from a big tree and landing on the stream. Imagine that the stream catches the leaves and then carries them away. Now direct your attention towards the thoughts that pop into your head, moment by moment. Notice all kinds of thoughts and try to give them a name, such as work thoughts, critical thoughts, or future thoughts. When you've caught a thought, imagine that you're placing the thought on a fallen leaf and watch it float away on the stream. Notice a thought. Place it on a leaf and watch it become carried away by the stream.
Okay.
Remember,
Alrighty. So, how do you feel, all of you who are doing this? Yes, definitely. You can surely have a calming track. That would be wonderful. It sounds like we haven't really actually solved our problems, right? But why does it feel good and calming? It's more of me sleepy. That's good. Sometimes you deprive of rest. It could be that. Thank you for those who are typing and PMing me that you're crying. Sometimes it's so heavy loaded here, we don't actually give ourselves the space to process our thoughts. What are some of the thoughts that were on your leaves? I know it might sound a bit like some people call it fluff or something, right? Or mushy mushy or cliche or something. But truly, when you do this, you can use anything. This is leaves on a stream. Some people use sushi on a sushi train. So whatever that you find good. That makes me hungry, lah. So I cannot. For me, it's like the leaves on a stream. What is happening is we are trying to notice what exactly our inner thoughts and our worries are. Do you realize that before you sleep, you actually go into this alpha mode? Your thoughts actually. So now we are in beta mode. So the beta waves are actually when we're busy. So when you are winding down before bed, you're going into an alpha mode. I tried to create an alpha state for you just now, very quickly, a little bit, if you were really mindfully following the video. And what happens when you're in an alpha state is that your brain sort of quiets down, your mind quiets down a little bit. Your brain, I mean, functions, sorry, your mind quiets down, and you kind of go into a very calming state. And that's when you allow your mind to be calm, lots of those thoughts start to creep in. It's actually those inner thoughts that were in your back seat. And they're like, okay, we see the traffic is clear now. Let's make our presence known. That's why it comes to the front. That's why you have a lot of overthinking happening before you sleep, because it says like, I think she's going to sleep now. I think it's a bit clear, the traffic. Let's make our presence known now. She has to deal with us now. So it comes to the front. And what I do sometimes is I keep a notebook beside my pillow to actually write it down. So you deposit it somewhere, because that's actually a good thing when that happens. It means like those thoughts that were buried deep within for the whole day, it's now coming into the surface for you to deal with. Do you notice how when you've forgotten about a particular to do task for a long time, and suddenly as you're clearing up stuff in your to do list, it comes to your memory? It's coming because there's a bit of space there. So we need to create that space consciously every day, my dears, and really give it a space and put it there. Oh gosh, notification from Teams. I'm so sorry. That can actually create some kind of alertness and it brings you back to reality, but it's okay. You know what? Really try to actually do it with allocate some space and time for you. You need some earphones lah to do this actually. You really need some headphones and close your eyes and breathe when you're doing that. And when you do that, you really feel different. Okay, so putting my bully on the leaf and leaf and letting the bully float away. I love that. That's a good thing. That's a really nice thing. Do you know I saw all kinds of thoughts going on the leaf just now, you know? I saw like very heavy thoughts like about my future. I also saw some very menial, minute thoughts like I gotta fix my washing machine kind of thoughts as well. So those are thoughts that will come to your mind. Some very big ones, some very minute ones, but don't underestimate the minor ones. Huh? Those minute ones, when accumulated, actually are the big things that you need to deal with to get rid of those things when it's bogging you down. Okay, so can you tell me how has emotional workload impacted you most in your workday? What is the part that's most affected? What does it impact the most? Like for me, emotional workload actually impacts my focus. Not my whole life, but my focus, my productivity. Okay, I mean, it's a poll, by the way. It's actually a poll. You can answer the poll, or yeah, we can see how most of us are. A lot of you said your focus, yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. Okay, so majority of you chose my focus. And some of you say next in line is motivation. I agree with you. I think for me, I resonate with that too. Very, very true. Okay, thank you for those of you who are answering. Thank you so, so much. It's really interesting to see your answers. Okay, some of you say focus as well. Okay, all right. So I think most of it are focus. Okay, now let's come talking about focus. Let's talk about this. How do we foster attention training and flow states? So attention control is basically the more scattered you are, right? The more you're trying to do lots of things, thinking that you're very efficient, the less capable of you are to meet those demands. So the more you're taking on more stuff on your plate, the less efficient you are actually. Even though you think that you're actually doing a great job. I was trying to multitask while ironing my blouse or my scarf, and I just burnt it. So it's like really multitasking is inefficient actually. So attention control theory means like how do I really shift my attention so much that I'm going to be super focused on my performance. And let's try this together really quickly, okay? We're going to call it the 60-second focus reset. I think we all have time for 1 minute, right? Let's inhale for 5 seconds. Can you do it with me? Put your hand on your tummy, by the way. All right. Inhale in together with me, everybody. Okay, when you inhale, does your tummy go inward or outward? Can you tell me? Does it go inward or outward when you inhale? Out? Okay, out. Okay, that's good. Out, 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 out. Most of you, some of you say in, some say out, right? So the correct deep abdominal breathing way, according to yoga, is actually outward. So why out? If I have a balloon right now and I fill it with air, it would expand and not go inward, right? So it's the same way as your abdomen and your lungs and your rongga abdomen and everything over here. When you inhale in, you're actually getting lots of oxygen into your lung capacity and into your abdomen area. It's going to create the impression of your tummy going outwards actually. And when you do that, you're going to get in much more oxygen. Let's do that together. Inhale for 5 counts. Hold for 5 counts. Why do we hold? We allow the oxygen to travel all over our body. Now exhale out, but remember it's going inwards. All right? It's going inwards. Okay, that's amazing, Rebecca. Tell us a little bit about those. Those must be interesting, right? For focus, definitely very true. Okay, inhale for 5 counts. All right, now hold for 5 counts. It's nice to do this with the leaves activity just now too. Now exhale out. Now I want you to choose your power word for today. What is your power word? Like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I know you don't Dwayne Johnson, right? So he says his power word is focus. Okay, so what is your power word? Your power word to fuel your day today. Exhale through your mouth will be good, actually. So you inhale through your mouth. Through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. You really feel it a bit more calming when you do that. Okay, so awesome. Okay, so what is your power word for today? I can do it. Let's go. Sometimes my power word, okay, one word like yeah, correct. Okay. So believe. TGIF. Let's do it. Okay, it can be a phrase as well. Let's do it. Love. I got this. Okay, awesome. You got to know that. Okay, now, very quickly, together with me, let's list down 3 priorities that you want to get done today. Just 3. Why 3? Because more than that, your brain starts to actually feel overwhelmed and you start to feel like, I don't want to do it. Maybe I can do it tomorrow. 3 sounds very much like, oh, I like Slay. Slay is nice. 3 sounds very like, okay, doable. Come on. Because 3 is something that you can also remember in your mind right now. Okay, so let's list out 3 things. Are you writing it down? You can write it down. Email, delegate, self-care. It's going to be a bit more specific as well. Delegate what? Self-care how? Email what or to whom? Go home on time. Rest well. Relax at home. Awesome. Relax doing what? Okay. What else would you say? Dance class, work, and nap. Oh, that's nice. Email, cat, and me time. That's awesome. Go home on time. Eat well. Play with my cat. I love it, you guys. You know what? I want you to do one more thing right now. Can you actually calendar block it? Like literally, if you have to calendar invite yourself, or if you have to set a reminder in your calendar, not your alarm, not write it down, but literally put it in your calendar with a notification kind of a thing for those tasks just now. What time is karaoke in my week in my room? Okay. What time is settle OT cases? What time is rest? I need you to really put it in your calendar right now. Can you do it together? Come on, go to your calendar. Because we always put calendar invite for everything else other than ourselves. I think we owe it to ourselves. What time exactly is chill? What time exactly is job done? Netflix is what movie, what show? You really gotta get it done. Otherwise, Netflix will be watching you. How many of you can relate to that? Because we're so like tired. When you go back, it's like I'm not thinking of Netflix. I'm so happy, and then you on it and you're like scrolling and scrolling. I don't know what to watch, and then you end up sleeping. Anybody can relate to that? Okay, so finish work, go back on time. So really calendar invite yourself by the way, okay? All right, I want to share with you about flow theory. Flow is a very famous and amazing and my favorite word as well in positive psychology. Someone once said this: if you are so in control of what you are doing right now when you are doing a task, let's say you're dancing, let's say you're exercising on a cycling machine, let's say you're working on a report, if you are so in control of it, you are not yet in a state of flow. Do you get what I mean? If you are still feeling you are so in control and so conscious of it, you are in fact not yet in a state of flow. Do you know why? When you are in a state of flow, you lose track of time. You lose track of all distractions around you. You feel like you're almost losing control because you're so in a state and in a momentum. You're so enjoying it so much. You just manage all of that. It all becomes white noise to you, and you experience something so extraordinary. You sort of lose yourself in the work and in the task, and it feels natural. And you sort of go into autopilot and you just allow yourself to be, and that's amazing. Like water, exactly. And you got to go into that, everyone. And you can reach flow even in your work. But you got to find a way to enjoy your work. So, if I'm doing a report that I really hate, so what I would do, I mean, what I mean by hate is like, it's so tedious, it's so leche, it takes a lot of time, it needs to be so meticulous. So, what I would do is I'll pair it with something I really enjoy. So that enjoyment would be music for me. So I would really, really like play some really nice jam. Just type on YouTube like motivational war music or motivational music or something that really puts you in that focus mode. And it really helps you to feel. Oh, I love Maxim. Do you know Maxim? I love listening to his piano pieces. It's super nice. So I love going to the state of flow with that. And it's really nice. So that's one thing that I want to share with you to do. It's basically a deep focus. It helps you to reduce all that noise. It goes into a creativity mode, and it really helps you to go into engagement and motivation. But it's not multitasking. No, multitasking is actually opposite of flow. Because multitasking, you are neither here nor there. You are disrupting the flow actually. So when you're really focusing on cooking, really go into that state of flow. Enjoy the aroma. Enjoy every process of it, that you don't feel like it's a chore anymore, right? So you got to go into that, everyone. You got to try that out. Let's do a flow sprint right now, very quickly. Think of a song that makes you feel unstoppable. Can you do that? What song makes you feel so unstoppable? Like you're like, yes, that's my jam. It can be that song by Ava. What's that song? If all of the queens had a blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever works for you. Okay, Unstoppable, of course. The show must go on. I love that. Fireworks, my favorite too. Eye of the Tiger. These are all my favorite jams too. Staying Alive. Okay, amazing. Alrighty. Goyang Dumang. Okay, I gotta hear that one. I haven't heard it. Okay, now hum it in your brain. Can you hum it? Can you hum it in your mind? I know you're in the office. You don't have to hum it right now out loud. Can you hum it in your mind right now? I'm unstoppable. Hum it in your mind. Like really go into it. Are you doing it? Are you doing it? For 30 seconds. If you're able to do it, I just helped you sort of like block out whatever that you were doing and focus so much on this. So this is a little bit of a sneak preview and a taste of going to a little bit of a focus. Okay, try it. And a bit of flow. Because it's your favorite jam, right? That's how you do it. Dilwale. Okay, nice. When your mind and body are aligned, it feels so natural. All right, that's the rhythm that you felt. Another one is this. Imagine that you're driving your dream car on an open road. Okay, feel the hum of the engine, the smoothness of every turn. Hold that image for 30 seconds. Can you imagine? Where are you driving? I'm imagining an open road with just grass on the side. Now, if you can immerse yourself so much in that, that's like, that's another state of flow. Okay, so Linkin Park, yeah, Slipknot. Some people can end their day with prayer. You need to also be consistent with your routine. The first step is the hardest. Yes, exactly true. Okay, so what are some of the things that get you in a state of flow? It's different for everyone, of course. Okay, now I want to come to another part here. Three work moves that we all can start this week. So, what are some things that we can start this week? Some of you said just now the three things just now, right? But I want you to make it a bit more specific though. What are some things that you want to do for Q4? Like for now it's October, right? Happy World Mental Health Month, by the way, everybody. So, what is something that you want to prioritize and do for yourself this month? What can we do? What can we do? What are some boundaries that you want to set? When do you want to focus and really do your work? I want to share with you this very nice, I think those of you who usually join our community webinar, I think you remember this. We've shared about Pomodoro. Do you remember Pomodoro technique? So Pomodoro is a very nice technique that I use for getting myself in a state of flow as well. It's called Pomodoro, right? So yeah, Pomodoro on YouTube, right? It's really nice. Pomodoro. Oh my gosh, sorry, my keyboard is like acting up right now. Pomodoro, by the way. So it means tomato in Spanish. So this guy came up with the idea when he was in his kitchen, and he used his kitchen timer in the shape of a tomato. So that's how the Pomodoro came to be. And it's really nice, by the way. And I like doing that. Blocks of 25 minutes work very well for me. Okay, so always set the alarm to for going to sleep. Huh? Always break it. I actually have an alarm for that too. I even have a voice that comes with that alarm. It says, "Time to sleep, Pam." But of course, I pity her a lot. I always ignore her. Right? Okay, so set clear goals. I need you to be able to do that, everybody. So set your clear goals. You can write it down as we're speaking right now. So a little bit of a recap for you now. Strengthening your emotional agility is key. It's very important that you strengthen that and you are able to be agile when things get different and tough. Challenge yourself. Say to yourself that I'm not going to be reactive. I'm going to pause, name my emotion. What am I feeling? If this was an analogy, what would it be? And then how do I cope and come out of this? Who are my anchors around me? What do I need to come out of this situation? And then go into a state of flow. You need to do this alone, everyone. Do you actually have alone time? Or are you constantly surrounded by somebody or people? You need to go into your cave, because that really helps you to unwind. And what are three moves that you want to start this week? Okay, so we are now um, going to take some questions, by the way. So you can actually type in the chat box for some questions. But before that, let me share with you a little bit about some resources that we have, some support from Naluri. So a lot of you said just now that I don't want to trouble my friend. I don't want to burden my friend. So please you're not going to burden us, but please reach out to us. We are so here for you. We would love to be there for you, and that's our role here. So I actually invite all of you to scan this QR code here. And this is actually to help you have a work-life well-being assessment. It's very interesting. Don't you think so? Let's scan it together. So try to scan. You'll get the handouts later as well. And those of you who came late, don't worry because you can watch us on YouTube and also in our link, our website. We will have this there as well. So can you scan this QR code first? All right, take this assessment. It's very important that you do this because this is World Mental Health Month and we want to be able to support you so you will get personalized coaching as well, right? And you can download the handouts that you can see on your screen. All right, once you have done that, these are our text lines. Actually, we have hotlines here as well. So depending on which country you're joining us from, all right. And if you need support, please be. We are so happy to book a mental one-on-one support with you. You can scan this to book. You can choose who you'd like to reach out to. I'm also there, and all my friends are also there. So you can choose which gender, which kind of person you would like to, based on our specialties and specializations here. So you can also download our app for your phone, or you can visit the website if you like to type using your computer. So you would get your own coach, and you would have someone to actually connect to. These are the social media accounts if you like to follow us too. So I think it's good if you download the handouts, because then you can take a time to scan the QR codes here. There is a feedback form on your left. If you can please click on that, we would love to hear from you for some feedback. All right. So now I'm going to take some questions from all of you. I'm going to address the ones that have been mentioned here first. Yeah. So, how if everyone at work measures doing extra free OT as a sign of commitment that supports for promotion and opportunities? Okay, that's very interesting. I think that can be a challenge because now we are normalizing overworking and as something that is expected, and we are equating overworking with being competent and efficient, when actually overworking is not a sign of competence all the time. I mean, of course, sometimes I overwork too. Sometimes I do have OT as well. Sometimes, occasionally, but if we normalize that every single day, it becomes counterproductive. Don't you think so? That's why we have the work-life well-being assessment just now. So if we normalize that, now we are equating overworking and OT with actually being efficient and committed. So anybody who wants to spend time taking care of their babies or their family or their older parents now is seen as less committed and inefficient, which is now flawed. And there's something wrong with that equation. So, what we need to do is now normalize going back on time, being able to show up for your family and for yourself, for other areas of your life. When was the last time you actually prioritized exercising? Or when was the, or how many of you feel like I have no time to exercise? Come on, I don't even have time to finish my work. So how many of you actually resonate with that? So now that's not being a holistic human being, that's being a very lopsided human being. So I think that's when we need to raise certain issues, probably with certain parties at your place, to say that OT occasionally is okay, but if we normalize and equate that with being committed, that's a problem, because not everybody can do OT all the time. And if they don't do it, it doesn't mean that they're less committed. It just means that they have other things that they're also committed to outside work, which is their right as well. So that's why I have to see very carefully. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, my dear. All right, now I'm going to see this here. Somebody typed to me, this year, my dad fell ill suddenly and he passed away. I'm so sorry to hear that. My condolences. Then the past week, my baby had seizures, and throughout these difficult times, my team has been supportive, giving me space. And now it's on me. It's October, and I haven't really completed my KPI and how to cope with this. So I think one very important thing, first of all, is to know that you are going through a very understandable reaction and response and situation to a very abnormal situation. It's not every time that somebody would go through a very huge grief, and also dealing with a baby not being well. It's actually huge right now. So this is a very normal response that you have for very abnormal circumstances that you're going through right now. And I think how to cope with this is, probably you're worried about the KPI because it's going to affect your numbers and your percentage and your performance review. So maybe talking to the person who will be reviewing that performance review, which would be ultimately your direct supervisor or your superior, maybe talking about this to your superior and asking, how do I deal with this? Like, is it going to affect my promotion? Is it going to affect my KPI? Because actually, this is what I've been going through this year, and it's been really tough. So, is there a way I can maneuver in a way that doesn't affect my performance review? Because you're worried like it's going to affect, and it's not your fault that all these things happen to you, right? So I think talking to someone at the office about this, since this affects your performance review, and they need to know that it's not a sign of incompetence, it's a sign of things that happened to you that you had to give room for. So talking to someone about that will be very helpful. I hope that that actually answered your question. So remember, there are some things within our control, there are some things outside our control. So outside our control are all these circumstances that happen. But within your control is actually, it's wonderful, by the way, that you have an amazing supportive team. Within our control would be actually talking to our boss and telling, I'm really worried, is that going to affect my KPI? Because it's going to affect the percentage, right? So how do I, but at the same time, this is not my fault that this happened. How do I maneuver that? So I think talking to your direct superior would be helpful for that. How to compartmentalize? I'm struggling on this. Okay. So compartmentalizing, how I do that actually is being so present in the here and now. It's a training, by the way. It's a practice. Like me talking to you right now, I'm not focusing on anything else in my mind also. I'm just focusing on you. And it's so liberating to do that, you know? And one thing that we need to do to compartmentalize is to put this aside for a while whenever you are compartmentalizing on something. So I know some of you have to be very responsive to your messages on your phone, even in work, right? You use that as a tool, which is okay. But you need to know how to maneuver that. So, for example, when I'm doing my Pomodoro technique at work, I would not look at my phone for 25 minutes. I will not check my email for 25 minutes at all. Like it's complete focus to do my work. But at the end of 25 minutes, I will check my phone and my email. So if you're in the kind of role that you're allowed to do that, that's nice. But if you're working for some companies that you need to be responsive within two rings, you have to answer the phone. Within 5 minutes, you have to respond. Then you have to see how to juggle with that. So you have to see what works for you. But that's one thing you need to do. Focus on the present, on the here and now, one thing at a time. And it's so hard to do that with lots of tabs open, but you gotta try your best to focus and close those tabs, and practicing it makes it easier. So using a timer like a clock really helps me a lot, like a physical, digital. Actually, I use an analog clock. I like to see the needle moving, and it really helps me a lot. Is numbness overloaded? It could be a sign. It definitely could be a sign of overloaded. It could be a sign of burnout. Some people, they call it languishing. When you are going through so much, it's too much that you are not having a mental health disorder, but you're not happy either. You are stuck in this phase called languishing, and that's kosong and numb, and that could be a sign. So it's really good that you need to unload out that overloading. Talk to someone about it. And it's good to talk to a mental health professional about it if you feel concerned to talk to your friends about that. Okay, so I'm not sure if we still have time right now. I think I might need to have take only one more, because I'm worried for you actually about your timing. So I'm just gonna choose one more, right? Sometimes as an empath, the challenge is that we absorb other people's energy. How can we learn to differentiate that? Okay, that's really nice, by the way. I like this question. I like all your questions actually. So anyway, an empath, yes, we need to remember not to absorb like a sponge. We need to be able to coexist with people, but you don't absorb it. That means imagine. I like thinking of it as a bubble. We have a very permeable Lucinar and like a very nice transparent bubble. Inside that bubble is you, your heart, inside it. So around us are so many other people's bubbles. Never let people burst your bubble. You can be, it's permeable. So you're very flexible. You can help people. You're able to be so adaptable and fluid and help and be there for people. But you don't let people burst your bubble over there. You are protected still. You're not absorbing like a sponge. You are coexisting with people. So you be a transformer, not a receiver. And how do we do that? Is by setting boundaries for that. So you need to be able to always, like me as a psychologist, I really need to do that. So I like what one doctor said once. He said, when you're helping someone, when you're talking to somebody, it's like you're opening the door and you're entering into their room, which represents their world and their life and their self. But don't forget, once you're done talking to them, come out of that room and close the door and enter your room. You need to do that. Otherwise, we go around helping everyone. At the end of the day, we absorb and then we become the patient. So we need to be careful of that. All right, everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna end here for now. I'm so sorry, but I really enjoy talking to you. I really, really do. So if you want, you could schedule a session with us. Perhaps we can talk more as well. Um, okay. So thank you so much, everyone. I really enjoyed talking to you. So I really wish you all the best. I pray that things will get better and easier for you. How to schedule a session in Naluri? Try to download our handouts just now. It's one of the last pages over there where you can scan the QR code to schedule a one-to-one. Look for the page that says one-to-one over there. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you. You're such a lovely bunch, by the way. You're amazing to share so much. So thank you so much. God bless you. I wish you a great weekend.